On the momentous occasion of the 75th Independence Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the National Hydrogen Mission to make India a hub for producing and exporting green hydrogen.
ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन के क्षेत्र के लक्ष्य की प्राप्ति के लिए मैं आज इस तिरंगे की साक्षी में नेशनल हाइड्रोजन मिशन की घोषणा कर रहा हूं.
To realize this vision and to provide a way forward, Infinity Expo has organized the Green Hydrogen Summit, which is an exclusive platform to identify investment strategies in India.
See, everybody knows hydrogen is going to be the game changer, not only for India but for the entire world. For India, it will have three significant impacts. One will be the energy security. Second will be it will help in your larger picture of sustainability. The third aspect will be it will also be your self-reliance. Till now we've been an energy importer country. Right? So hydrogen for India will also mean self-reliance. So whenever a new sector opens up, there is a need for platforms which build information and knowledge sharing linkages. So this platform is trying to bridge that gap.
The two-day forum has provided a stimulating environment to understand the latest global trends and opportunities in the Indian context. In the inaugural session, energy experts tried decoding the various forms of hydrogen production, its financial aspects, and the policies needed to support a multi-sector global hydrogen economy.
So as we speak today, sustainability has become a buzzword. So we are all aware of 3 R's: reuse, reduce, recycle. So I thought, why not we think something beyond? So I've coined 5 R's. Reduce. When I say reduce, reduce all hydrocarbons usage as we go in the entire value chain. Second is recycle. So wherever we are capable or we can bring in the recyclability angle of these elements, recycle it. Third is replace. So this is a new R we are talking about, and that's the genesis also of this conference in terms of how do we replace carbon with hydrogen. The fourth we talk about is again very different, is a time and necessity for all of us to reimagine. So that's the fourth R. Industry 5.0, as I said, has a very positive impact on the environment, and we are confident that this opportunity where several G2G, government to government initiatives and commitments from our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has been made will be achieved as planned. Thank you very much.
There's a huge awareness of climate change, even though we're one of the countries which is less exposed to the consequences. But if we are going to do an effort, we need actually to help the rest of the world succeed. And India is key here.
Hydrogen is not a solution to climate change. The hydrogen is one of the solutions that we need to have, because we need to have a carrier of energy that can be used for transportation, used to be substitute for then fossil fuel in a number of applications. And hydrogen is key in the overall picture for a total solution. So therefore, the development of green hydrogen in India is of utmost importance. But it has several challenges. First is that you need to have energy to make hydrogen. And second is that hydrogen is a substance that has some challenges when it comes to the use, which has to be harnessed. And that is a very important issue.
I'm so pleased to be at this conference with so many people who will drive one of the most amazing revolutionary movements of our time. That is to make the planet green, and to do it, among other means, by green hydrogen. So you are front and center in the transformation of the 21st century. Some people are asking, where will green hydrogen fit in? I believe mainly in 3 areas. Those industries which are so energy intense and need so high temperatures that at the time there is no real replacement, like steel and cement. Secondly, in the fertilizer industry, India now has the opportunity to be completely decoupling the carbon emissions from agriculture. And adding to this, the heavy energy industries, fertilizer industry, Of course, we believe that green hydrogen will play a role in heavy transport, like shipping, ferries, and maybe aviation. All those people in the industries who are moving fast ahead, developing the technology, seeing the markets, making the linkages, the enormous energy and power of Indian industry, that's which will really drive the energy revolution and the green hydrogen revolution in this century. I can only wish you all good luck, but I think this is enormously exciting.
In the session on green hydrogen strategies for India, the guest speakers presented their views on the role and obligation of green hydrogen and adopting green hydrogen for India's sustainable energy transition.
Today, green hydrogen as a primary source of electricity is something that we don't want to talk about, especially when the prices of solar are already very, very cheaper and lucrative. But green hydrogen can offer an alternative for being a storage. Today, the tender that we are all talking about, which very soon I hope will see the light of the day in Ladakh, making Ladakh as a green hydrogen zone, which is both strategic as well as important for India in terms of geopolitical issues as well as our energy security issues, is something that shows us or will help us understand how, as a storage option, green hydrogen can be used. I think we need 3 C's while I conclude for green hydrogen in India. We need clarity on where we have to go, where we are, and how we go there. We need comprehensive policies on what needs to be done and how we will get it done. And we need, most importantly, certainty in the atmosphere where we work. Thank you, everyone.
The summit also witnessed the release of the white paper prepared by Shardul Kulkarni, advisor Vibrant Energy.
The white paper covers that future aspiration, how India can reach to 30% market share of global hydrogen market, green hydrogen market, which is growing leaps and bounds over the period of next 5 decades. And it's not just a 1 decade story, it's going to be a 5 decade story.
In Norway, we are developing a very robust hydrogen ecosystem. And that is based on very close and transparent cooperation between government, industry, as well as research. So we need everybody on board, and to be able to do that in an efficient way, because time is of essence now, we need to create these platforms where we can unite industry, government and research. And this is one platform. Of course, we will need more of these.
Capital into building the green hydrogen economy is going to be massive. In the long term, they're going to be incredibly large. But we can't get there unless we take the first few steps right. And we said, what do we do? Let's look at Europe. Few key areas that we learned from the European example is don't create stranded assets. Don't have large projects which don't talk to the other parts of the industrial system, because you're going to have big production plant, but if you can't transport it easily to use points, you will have spent a lot of money. And again, these are learnings to be taken from the European example. We would like to believe we can get industry to come together to form consortia, SPVs, together with the state government and the central government to create first few hubs. So we put 5 here. Even if we start with 2 in the next 6, 8 months, 10 months in terms of planning and structuring these SPVs, we think it will be a start.
There are 2 issues in technical innovation. One is that you replicate somebody else's technology and modify here and there, or you develop your own technology. And technology is not developed overnight. You have to invest a lot of money. And there is incentive required from the government point of view. Government must, for example, it was shown that there's a lot of GST and this and that, and so therefore you are discouraged. It is not just the cost of electricity, but also the cost of capital. And therefore, innovation is required to bring down the cost of electricity, to bring down the cost of, the equipment, and also, wherever it is required. For example, suppose I want to set up a plant of, say, 50 megawatt plant. It should be, the user should be nearby. So I don't have to store it, because storage is another problem. So steel industry is one of the best examples where we can do it.
not always about buy, sell or profit loss.
So after a gap down start, there is no buying.
It's about making you market ready with insights from the foremost market anchors.
Stocks open sharply. The Nifty Bank Index buying momentum has in fact come into the market.
And the views from top-notch technical analysts. Join them talking business, markets and earnings every trading day from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. only on ET Now.
ये लो अब खाओ कद्दू इसके चक्कर में 2000 का चालान लग गया।
बाइक इंश्योरेंस रिन्यू करते तो नहीं लगता ना पापा।
अच्छा इंश्योरेंस कितनी महंगी है पता है? मैं यहाँ पैसे बचाऊं सस्ते कद्दू के चक्कर में 15 किलोमीटर दूर जाऊं कोई कदर नहीं है मेरी।
2000 रुपए का सस्ता कद्दू।
बाइक इंश्योरेंस महंगी पड़ रही है। प्रीमियम स्टार्टिंग एट जस्ट ₹1.5 per day on phone pay. Tension free insurance.
The people, the culture, the climate is so conducive, so friendly. People love to come to Bangalore on and on and on. Therefore, it has converted into a Silicon Valley of the East. And this is one opportunity for all sectors, right from renewable energy to semiconductors to all niche technical industries to set up their shops here.
देश बढ़ चला है एक विकास यात्रा पर, जन जन की खुशहाली का स्वप्न लिए, प्रयासों में प्रण लिए। तो आइए देश के प्रति अपना कर्तव्य निभाएं। सभी टैक्स डिडक्टर्स 30 सितंबर 2022 को समाप्त हो रही तिमाही के लिए 31 अक्टूबर 2022 तक अपना TDS विवरण अवश्य ई-फाइल करें। ध्यान रखिए केवल फॉर्म 26Q फाइल करने की नियत तिथि 31 अक्टूबर 2022 से बढ़कर 30 नवंबर 2022 कर दी गई है। 200 रुपए प्रतिदिन की लेट फीस और 1 लाख रुपए तक के जुर्माने से बचने के लिए समय पर TDS विवरण ई-फाइल करें।
अधिक जानकारी के लिए incometax.gov.in पर भी लॉगिन कर सकते हैं।
The voice that instills trust.
My experience, based on what I've done in the last 20 years, these are the times where you don't panic, and if you stay committed to your financial planning, you will be rewarded. The bulls are saying, look, this is markets which are telling you that the future will be much brighter than what the past was.
The voice that commands respect.
You should remember that every bull market is higher than the last.
The voice that is always ahead of the curve.
Maybe later this summer, I'll buy more gold and silver.
Domestic is already at 60% capacity and going towards 80%. But we need more growth in international.
The voice that does not falter.
How do you convert this crisis into an opportunity? We will become stronger. We will survive this storm. With each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
Catch India's most experienced market anchor, Nikunj Dalmia, only on ET Now.
Day 2 of the GH2 summit started with a thought-provoking panel discussion where an array of thought leaders discussed on a vast range of topics, from how to make green hydrogen a bankable asset to behind-the-scenes insights into what banks want to see and their views of challenges and risks. Here are some highlights from the session.
What we'll try and do on this panel is how do we finance hydrogen today? Not 5 years from now, not 10 years from now, not when the market has reached steady state, because a lot of the questions that came up were under the pretext as if the market was in a steady state. No, the market is just starting, and the rules of financing, the rules of engagement are very, very different to when the market is in a steady state. So I request my panelists to just keep that in mind and try and bring out those very aspects.
When we talk about green hydrogen, the most important thing is that
we have to have the stakeholders on board. At the moment, the demand side players are not yet there. Their concern is technology shift. Their concern is financing access. Their concern is how do we track that actually what they are buying for a premium is actually green or not. So strategies around guarantee of origins, strategy around financial instruments, buying back of the green hydrogen, I think is very important.
From my understanding, at the end of the day, when it comes to this kind of endeavors, financing is really not a rocket science. World Bank, KfW, ADB, you name it. We all have our instruments in order to follow our mandate to support this kind of emerging markets, to support this kind of innovations with risk mitigation, with concessionary finance in terms of interest, in terms of maturities. We support this through studies, through capacity building, and also some kind of accompanying measures which help implementing our partners. And we also might and can and have to consider some kind of viability gap financing.
I think we need to incentivize people to think in terms of how the cost can be brought down at the technology stage itself and what initiatives can be taken. Second thing which you talked about democratizing. Whenever we talk of a new thing to catch the media eyeball, we talk of very large numbers and we talk of absolutely that okay, to 2040 we need so much of situation. But I guess in an economy and in a industrial and a corporate practice it goes gradually, and I think this has to be democratized far more than what is being conceptualized.
See, if we are looking at green hydrogen being available at any point in time, we all know that existing pipelines will only carry 15%. They cannot carry hydrogen, the pure hydrogen that we are really looking at. So if we have to really have ambitious plans of carrying green hydrogen, then we would need the same kind of signals like we have actually seen for impact investment across the various infrastructure sectors.
But folks, we still have to answer that question. What will it take to jumpstart the hydrogen market?
I guess the way is the hydrogen purchase obligation, whether it be through blending in city gas or other ways, or HPO is the way basically for asking people to come and buy. It can be say 10% of all the hydrogen you are taking must be green for all the refineries.
Or will the buyers buy, right? Enforcing it on them is
an obligation, just like the RPO.
But it didn't happen. RPO faltered, right?
The RPOs did happen. That's why the prices finally.
Eventually,
so,
right?
Eventually, someone has to start taking it because it's like a vicious circle. If you won't start investing now, then the prices won't come down 10 years later. The prices have to come.
Just to get you the perspective where Vibrant is involved in some of the early discussions, and there we are not talking about any viability gap funding, nothing. We believe in a simple word, stupid, it's economics. There are industries in India, they're paying almost $5 to $6 per kg of the hydrogen, grey hydrogen. And that's where we are concentrating. Apart from replacing so-called higher price grey hydrogen, we will sell oxygen also.
Can we summarize? Okay, fine.
So where I agree fully with Shadro, it's economics. At the end of the day, it's the economy. And if you can make it work, I have the idea of the carbon credits as the second revenue stream. I like the idea of oxygen even better, but that's what it amounts to. The second thing is that I agree. So you're talking about hydrogen. I'm thinking more of ammonia. Ammonia was at $400. It went up to $1,200. It's still down at $800. Came down, but still $800, $900. So I mean, the question is, how much is gas going to stay? Most people in India that I talk to think that it's a blip. It will go down. As European living beside Ukraine, I think it's going to stay at least for 3 to 4 years. And therefore, it's your perception really how markets are going. And really, how is gas going to go? Because it greatly impacts your grey ammonia production and makes your green, actually, if you look at Bloomberg figures, Green is actually competitive today. It's just, of course, the question of how long.
So we are already at that price parity because of the gas prices. I'll just bring Rajesh. What's your future curves looking like?
Everybody feels that at least 2 years we'll see there will be some softening next year in 1 year. Some bit of more softening, maybe if whatever normal you call, that may be achieved in 2 years minimum. But beyond that, people expect that enough supplies will be there in the market because since Europe has done everything to compensate the loss of Russian gas, and they will explore all possible options, and then there will be enough supplies created in US, Africa, and other parts of the world. So everyone feels that the prices which is ruling something like $60 per MMBTU, that will be there, that may soften to maybe about $20 by 2023, and then further can cool down to something about $10 or less than $10 in 2024-25. So as we understand that if we rely on these prices for hydrogen, it's not sustainable. So we have to work out our own mechanisms. So on the supply side, of course, we have to reduce the cost or maybe give some fiscal incentives or some subsidies. But definitely there will be some mechanism required to support this market.
You know, if you look at the whole history so far of the funding of green hydrogen or the funding of hydrogen per se, it is mostly a government-led narrative, right? Something is required from the government side here to incentivize demand, and once that happens, then we'll see progress on that front. That's what I think.
Arun?
So I think, in terms of if you take ammonia today, right? Or definitely there is some market, and in long term you can see the viability of this dependent on the natural gas prices. Of course, today natural gas prices are quite high, so it's very viable. Green ammonia is very viable. So when you take a 25-year span and without taking a look ahead of the market, if you were to take a look ahead of the market, I think a tariff, a dollar-based tariff can be signed. And I think one of the things the government could do is to facilitate that.
So summary is bring in an intermediary commodity risk agency whose ultimate backstop is the government, right? But they understand they're taking the initial commodity risk, and that jumpstarts the market all around.
After the invigorating panel discussion, the GH2 summit witnessed many integrative sessions, discussions and debates for holistic learning. One of the speakers, Vineet Mittal of Avada Group, spoke on the topic of defining green hydrogen and decoding the various forms of green hydrogen production. Here are some snapshots from their discussions.
Hydrogen, which is coming from the process of electrolysis by splitting H2O into H2 plus O2, and using the green source for it, and they have defined the green source as power which is coming from solar, wind, biomass and hydro. So that is what the definition world should follow, and I think Europe has gone a step further where they have said that after 2026 there should be an electron to molecule matching on an hourly basis. India has a very large, stable, big grid, and Indian grid has ability to absorb the intermittent power and supply reliable 24/7 power for electrolysis. So India should play with its own strength, and the rest of the world should allow that to happen.
Next speaker was the CTO at Tata Consultancy Engineers. He spoke on the future perspective of hydrogen. Here are some glimpses from his session.
When was hydrogen discovered? Anyone can raise hand? 240 years back. When was first electrolyzer built? 150 years back. So the technology is existing, the molecule is known, and now we have started suddenly and booming interest. And suddenly everyone here Everyone on this planet is talking about the hydrogen. What's the magic about this? Hydrogen is a very compliant molecule, There is the smallest molecule on the earth. So very historical molecule, but very compliant. Compliant in the sense it's obedient molecule. It bonds with nitrogen, it bonds with hydrogen. Unfortunately, it is not available in the free form. You need to extract it. And what is the most abundant other form of hydrogen available on this earth? Of course, everyone knows it is nothing but the water. Most of our water is, earth is made up of water. So we have hydrogen in abundance. And still we have challenges. Future of hydrogen, I have just spelled it into three categories. One is generation. Second is storage, and third is the end use or distribution. It is really going to be the future of the systems as an alternate fuel, as a clean fuel, as a feedstock, as an energy storage media, and look forward for an exciting generation of these chemicals.
The next presentation was on electrolyzer technologies that can help India achieve its hydrogen ambitions. Shaji John from OMIUM gave an insight on the topic. Take a look.
Technology is not new. Renewable industry know how to handle solar and wind, and electrolyzer is also not new. It's a decade-old technology. All of these are decade-old. Then what is new in this? The new is the combination of these three. And the new is the changed world order. But one thing I understand from the industry, unless the cost point is met, no technology is valuable for the world. India aspired to be the exporter of energy in form of ammonia, which means that most of the production should happen closer to the ports, which means that transmission infrastructure and transmission incentives should be provided so that solar where it can be produced best, wind where it can be produced best, it is in those locations and it can be wheeled to the ammonia or hydrogen production locations so that it is easier for transporting it outside the country through shipping methods.
The two-day summit on green hydrogen culminated on a positive note. The participants walked away with actionable takeaways on how to build markets, match the right technology and attract investments. With more than 200 hydrogen leaders exclusively in one place at one time, the GH2 summit has become a platform to meet thought leaders and take a step forward for the future of India's energy security.